Welcome to season 2 of No Shelf Control, the podcast with books, booze, and banter, hosted by authors for readers. Because let's face it, we're all bookworms at heart.
This season, we'll be chatting about book-to-screen adaptations and trending BookTok books. I'm Lindsey Sparks.
And I'm Lindsey Pogue. Grab a cocktail or mocktail, kick back and enjoy the show. Alrighty.
Your voice is coming across, or your tone is coming across as very like jazz radio station.
Jazzy.
Easy listening.
I wish I could blame it on listening to Coit or something, which is like Christmas 24/7, but that's not it. I've not listened to any Christmas music. So welcome to this episode of the podcast. Tonight, the Lindseys are chatting about a BookTok popular book called A Curse of Shadows and Thorns by L.J. Andrews. Like we said, this is a popular book on BookTok, and it is said to be a cross between Vikings and Beauty and the Beast. So I was interested in it. So I'm interested, now that we've both read it, to see what we think. So before we dive in, how are you this cold Wednesday 8 p.m. recording?
I'm good. Yeah, I've got my glass of wine.
Good.
I don't know. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I feel like I want to be super cozy.
You look cozy.
I have my blanket wrapped around me. Yeah, we've had a lot of really cold weather, and we're always in a drought in California, and it's actually been raining for 5 days. So, I mean, I'm kind of excited about that. I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I always assume rainy means not warm, but not like freezing. So there's frost warnings, but it's also raining. So
no, it's usually really cold when it's raining here.
Yeah, that's not
rain is cold.
Yeah, I don't know. But Tahoe, anybody who lives up in that area, it's probably lots of blizzard weather. So anyway, yeah, so just trying to keep warm and all that jazz. But it's hump day, and I feel like this week is going by very slow and very fast at the same time. How about you?
I feel like I keep losing track of days, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Last week I was a day off like all week. I kept thinking there was one more day in the week than there was. Like weeks were just suddenly 8 days long. I don't know.
They never end.
I mean, I was thinking it in terms of like, oh, I still have another day to do this, or whatever.
Right.
But I didn't. So that's okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, anyways, we're winding down at least either way, huh? Winding down.
Yeah.
Do you have any special red wine tonight that I saw you?
I do. I have an Alexandria Nicole. I didn't even look. Alexandria Nicole is one of the wineries that I'm a club member of. I didn't even look at what the wine was. I was like, oh, this will be good.
Well, yeah.
And
one of those just go-tos. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is good. Their wines tend to be like bigger, chewier,
jammy.
Yeah, I was like in the mood, or like leathery or something, I was in the mood for something that had some like teeth. So
nice.
Yeah. But I know you didn't ask, but I will tell you. Okay. Oh, are you drinking anything? Sorry. Do you have a beverage?
Yeah, no, I'm just sipping on some Screwball. I've had this bottle Dennis got it for me. I don't know how many years I've had it, but now it's like this really popular drink.
What is Screwball?
It's whiskey, but it's like a peanut butter flavor. Yeah, so
it would kill my child.
Yeah, that Dennis. It's so funny that he got it for me because he's also very allergic. So I was like, hey, thanks. It's delicious, but it's also very sweet. Or rich, I should say, not sweet, but it's very rich. So for me, it's more of just like a sip, like maybe instead of having dessert, you sip on it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like having a Reese's in a way. So you don't want to just take shots or mix it with anything because it has so much flavor already.
Yeah.
So I just sipper on it.
That's fun. And it's sweet. It's sweet.
It's not, yeah, it's like I said, sweet isn't really a word. It's really rich. It's like having a dessert. It's like you could probably pour it, like you could probably put it in a coffee, it'd be really good, or put it over like I mean, I've never tried this, but I could see how you could put it on like a vanilla ice cream or something and it would taste good or something like that. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very rich. Like I said, it's kind of like having like a dessert candy, like a chocolate and a peanut butter. So
yeah.
Anyway, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna just move on to the next.
Oh,
gonna
yeah, sure.
on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just feeling very proud of myself because I have gotten out of my writing slump and I wrote 3+ chapters. So I started the next one. So I've written 3+ chapters in the last 2 days. And because as LP knows, but listeners don't necessarily, I was in a writer's block or like a creative block from the whole Facebook situation, which has not resolved. There's nothing good to report there. But other than the fact that I'm just moving on, onward and upward. But I just feel so relieved. I don't know, for anybody who's had like life situations get in the way of the creative process, there's always that like panic of what if I can't get it back? And so I'm feeling very relieved that I was able to just like get in the zone and write. When I showered this afternoon, I had like, a delightful like inspiration moment that hadn't happened for a couple weeks. And I was just like, oh, like frantically typing as soon as I got downstairs. It's like, don't let anybody see me. I'm typing. So I'm feeling good.
Don't let anybody see me.
Well, because then I'll have
like
to
you don't want to be interrupted.
Yeah, because then I'm like parent.
Secret.
I know. It's like, I'm gonna sneak in here and do this really quickly. So I just like got a quick like page out.
That's good. That's a great feeling.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, why am I so I should probably just bring my laptop upstairs when I shower. And then as soon as I get out of the shower, just like have it open so I can just quickly write down whatever it was that I thought about. Because those are the easiest to write words right then, because it's like the scene is like currently at that moment playing out in my mind. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose it. So anyway, what about you?
Maybe you just came up with a new business idea, figured out how can you
waterproof laptop?
Yeah, I don't know. $1 million later.
Yeah, it's just like an interface in your shower wall.
I mean, that's probably really a thing for rich people. Probably. Like really rich people. They probably have that.
I would totally use that. I'm not a really rich person, so I don't have that.
But you know what I mean? Like, I mean, they already put TV screens in refrigerators and all over the place. Yeah. They could, I'm sure they could do something. I'm sure they do something like that for really ridiculously fancy houses.
Yeah.
With screens in the shower. Anyway, totally off topic.
I will say one more thing that I have been working on is really incorporating, well, it's kind of like two things as one, but really incorporating all of my AI art, which I know has become like suddenly a hot topic in terms of like controversy AI art. I feel like I'm just hearing all kinds of news, or maybe it's just my phone giving me what I want. But I feel like I've been seeing more and more stuff pop up about the copyright controversies surrounding AI art. But despite that, I have been incorporating so much more AI art into my like Instagram, Discord, and just actually in my creative process. So lately I've been like, while I'm brainstorming, I'm just like working on some prompts and having some images come up. And I've started to incorporate some of because I've switched over to Midjourney. I still use Night Cafe a little bit, but Midjourney is amazing. They released a 4th version and it's awesome.
I was going to say, I know you weren't a fan when it first came out.
No, well, I did not like that it was all in Discord. Like you have to do everything in Discord in terms of like your generating. But they have a website outside where you can see all of your images that you have generated. So it's in 2 places, which is kind of funny. I wish it was all just like on the website just on the website. but it is kind of fun the way that I've incorporated it into my Discord server. I have a couple channels, and if people want to do it, they can do it, although nobody has yet. I think people are a little bit scared, but it's fun now because I do all of my AI art generating I have an AI art studio in my Discord server. And so people could just watch everything that I'm generating. Like, and they can see like my manic, like hundreds of images in like an hour. Or I'm just like, upscale, 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 redo, upscale. It's like, it gets insane. So the bot is constantly telling me like that I'm going too fast or that I have to like pause.
That's funny. Well, if it's fun for you, that's what matters, right?
Yeah. Like, but if anybody wants to see what I'm working on, they should check out my Instagram. Or if you really want to see what I'm working on, you should check out my Discord and go to my AI art studio in there because it's nuts.
That's cool.
Because there you can see everything that I've done. There's nothing that's hidden in there. I mean, there's no Night Cafe stuff. It's only Midjourney, but yeah, I definitely recommend it. And it's really fun. Oh, but related to that, I did record the first part. I'm going to do a second part of a show that I'm going to be releasing intermittently on YouTube. That is just me not streaming, but like me screen recording my screen as I'm generating for a specific scene from a book. So it was really interesting to do, and interesting when I was editing it. I was like, this is interesting. So, but I'm going to do it for Night Cafe also, and then have them kind of be like a math, like versus competition. So anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Like AI art is everywhere now. It's so interesting how fast things change.
I know.
Like crazy fast.
I know. And I've been seeing, like, I follow a gazillion artists. Mostly what I use Instagram for is following illustrators.
Mm-hmm.
And I have like weird feelings within myself about not wanting to like upset illustrators by posting my AI art and like alienating them and making them not want to work with me, because I do work with a lot of illustrators as well. So it's just weird. It's a difficult topic, I think.
Yeah, but because I look at a lot of people, especially on Instagram, and I can't tell, and even Facebook now, because like I had mentioned before, and I don't know if it was on the show or if it was in one of our meetings or what, but I mean, there are cover designers that are selling AI art as like cover art. And
I think that's really interesting. Like, I'm not using any of mine for anything that I'm making money off of.
Right. But like, just the whole thing is like, now it's everywhere. So now I'm sitting there and I'm on Facebook or I'm on Instagram and I'm scrolling through things, and I don't know if what somebody is showing me or selling me is AI art or if it's art they made separately. Yeah. Like, I don't know how to tell the difference anymore.
I know. Except for I still have tons of issues with hands. The hands. I don't know. I rarely see hands that look right. So I feel like that's a good signifier if you can.
But I also, if you think about it, how many visuals do you come across when they have hands? So it's hard to tell. Like you know, I don't know. I don't see a lot of them. It's all like close up, or they're like making out or something. And so everything is hidden, or something like that.
I think people purposely try to hide hands.
Yeah, no, I know. That's what I'm saying, though. That's what makes it hard. That's what makes it hard.
But the thing is with the AI art that I don't understand is like, why can't it get a hand right? Like, I've had something where I swear it has like 20 fingers, and I'm like, what is that? And it's like everything else about the artwork,
is beautiful.
Is beautiful. And then there's just this like weird, like noodly appendage.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's really freaky.
You're like, do I say that for feedback for this image? Do I say that I like it because I like everything except for the hand, or do I say that I don't because the hand is so bad?
Yeah. And then there's like a weird thing where like when you're looking at the images, well, because if you really get into it, you end up looking at a lot of them, and then you're looking at them really fast, and you're like, no, yes, no, yes, and it just becomes this like sorting thing. But it's like, then you kind of like prioritize in your head about what you're looking for, so it's like their faces or the backgrounds or just like general like body stuff. But then it's like, I'll find the really good ones. And then when I go back and look at them, I'm like, oh, there is this like weird thing over here, or there's like this weird thing. And it's like, you can always find, or there were these one great images. There was this great set of images that I had of my main character, Tarset. and she looked beautiful. She's in ancient Egypt. She's just like, it's like perfect, stunning, beautiful, except she's got her hair, and then she has like this extremely thick back hair. Like, what?
Yeah. Yep.
So thanks.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yeah. So I'm really curious to see. I think it's fascinating how it's developing. And I'm really curious to see how, because there's a lot of artists talking about it especially on Instagram right now. I'm really curious to see which artists end up incorporating some of this into their work and how they do it, and just like how it's all going to develop.
Right. I haven't been doing much. I was doing it there for a while. I was playing around, and I have a lot of really cool images, but I mostly just share them with my Patreon people. But I have not been doing that a lot lately. I've barely been doing anything. So we've talked about in our last episode, we were drinking heavily and talking about the Facebook fiasco.
Yeah.
And while you're still going through it, I've kind of just given up and moved on. But one thing that I've been also trying to just be really transparent with my readers on Facebook, and letting them know about Discord and stuff, because I've always used Discord, but it's always only been for Patreon people. And so now I'm opening it up to everybody in a different channel, or server. But anyway, it's just really interesting because ever since I've decided to do that, I feel like it's gotten harder and harder for me to use Facebook. I tried to post something the other day and it wouldn't let me. Constantly kept saying there's an error. And then I tried to reply to some readers posts, and it kept marking me as spam in my own group. And I was just like, wow, you guys are really making some points here. So
that's interesting.
Just reiterating it to listeners, like, I feel bad because a lot of people are like, oh, don't leave Facebook, or I think it would be a big mistake. But I mean, it is ridiculous. It's on my end. I have so much going on, and I have very limited time, and I want to spend it interacting with my readers. And the fact that I can't makes me like, why do I want to spend my time there?
Yeah.
So anyway, just a heads up to everybody. I'm still posting there and I'm still doing what I can, but it's definitely not an area of focus for me anymore because it's just too maddening. So Lindsey will go ahead and, have the links for our Discords, but
yeah,
you can sign up for my newsletter because we definitely, we're sending out our newsletters. You can follow me on Instagram, but again, it's all kind of connected. It's connected to Facebook, so I don't really trust it. So if you really want to make sure that you stay connected to us, newsletters, Discord, Patreon, those are the three things. Those are the only ways that we have access to you, and the where we actually can reach out to you directly and have your information. Otherwise, there's nothing we can do. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. With that being said, what I've been doing this week is a lot of reading. I've been reading the Land of Fury to get that off to my editor, and I've been having a lot of fun. And one of the things that I've been doing is, we were talking about how I haven't decided what I want to do moving forward with the series. And I've had a lot of, or just in general with my writing. So I've been actually having a lot of really fun ideas of stories that I want to write on the side that are either kind of what you're doing, like alternative POVs for specific scenes that I know readers really like. So I like the idea of doing a poll or whatever, but I'm also I'm going back and I'm looking at my comments from beta readers, and I'm looking at these like different parts of different stories where betas were like, oh, I hope you're building this up because you're going to do a story about it. And then I'm sitting there going, and because there's certain ones where I was always thinking, oh yeah, I was thinking about it. And then there's some was like, I never thought about that before. And so I'm kind of going and I'm really kind of collecting these ideas, and I'm like, oh, that would be really fun. So that's kind of something that I've been looking at. And I'm not going to maybe write a full novel for all of them, but it's fun to think about because I'm already in these worlds, right? So why not like dive into the things that I know readers are interested in and really expand on them. So I don't know. I think I've been really trying to, with what little extra brain like juice that I have during, revisions and read through stuff. I'm really just trying to figure out what kind of fun stuff I want to work on after this new year. So
yeah.
Anyway, I am excited to really dive into that soon, and figure all that out. So I'll keep you guys posted, but I think it would be fun. So at least it'll be fun for me because I don't have to come up with a new world. I don't have to come up with new characters. I can just dive in and do fun things with them that I haven't been able to do before. There's no expectations because it's all in my head.
How much fun I'm having with it. Like, I'm like, this is all I want to write. This is it. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to. I mean, yeah. I love this stuff. And it's like, there's endless. I feel like we both have this where we have enough fictional worlds that we've created that there's endless things that we could explore within those fictional worlds. Yeah. And it's fun to write those things, knowing that those are the things that people want to read as well, right. Your existing readers. So it's a nice, gratifying feeling. And I think one of the things I really love about the whole Patreon model, or just like the subscription model, is that you are really guaranteed, well, if you're writing stuff for Patreon, is that you're really guaranteeing that the stuff that you're writing is what the people who are supporting you are wanting to read. And there's this really beautiful connection between the reader and the author that almost feels collaborative at times. So that's really fun.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I think that's one of the things that I think is really fun about it is I do have the ability to pull readers that way. And I know that, they are paying to be a part of my journey. So they want the access. So they want to weigh in. It's not like posting something on social media and then the algorithm only shows 5 people and then you have 5 votes, So no, it'll be exciting, I think. So anyway, I don't know. I've been brainstorming that a little bit. But it makes me fun. It makes me get excited. And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, I'm loving this story, but I'm ready to move on and go to the next chapter of something. So it's, how it is. It feels really good to have that excitement about something else. Even if I don't even know what it is, I'm just excited to explore what my options will be,
Yes.
So
I think you would really like writing like serials. That's what I think.
Yeah. Guess we'll see. Anyway, I think I've been planning on doing serials for over a year now. But I think for me, one hesitation is I don't have, you have very specific hours of the day where you write. I don't. So I would have to be extremely strict with my time to ensure that I stick to a schedule for writing, which everyone, that makes sense as a writer, but it's not how my life is. So I would just have to be very rigid with myself. So anyways, we'll see. Yeah. But anyways, anything you are reading outside of podcast stuff that you want to check in about?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on because I am just reading my own stuff. I'm just reading my own stuff. So I haven't had time. Okay. So we'll dive into the book. I'll go ahead and caution everybody. We will be going into spoilers soon, but I'll go ahead and read the blurb first. What?
I said yes. Spoilers. And when we get to the spoiler part, I'll also issue a second spoiler warning for another book that will be discussed.
Oh yeah. Okay. That works. That's a good idea. All right, everybody. So this evening, we're talking about Curse of Shadows and Thorns on this episode of the No Shelf Control podcast. We're going to be discussing our read through of Curse of Shadows and Thorns by L.J. Andrews. A bargain between enemies, a curse without an end, a love that will bring a kingdom to its knees. Long ago, Elisa's ancestors stole the crown from the Fae King. As the niece of a brutal current king, her purpose is to do whatever is asked to ensure her family keeps the throne for centuries to come. The trouble is, Elise would rather sneak into gambling halls with the servants than be a silent princess at a ball. Soon, reckless games are are ended when her uncle forces her into negotiations for a marriage. If she refuses, her deathly ill father will pay the price. Trapped by her sense of duty, Elise is given to the charge of Legion Grey, the handsome and mysterious dowry negotiator. But Legion holds more than her future in his hands. He incites her anger and a forbidden passion. I did roll my eyes when I was reading that. Sorry.
Yeah.
When a coup upends the kingdom, Elise flees with Legion, only to discover he holds more secrets than anyone. Unknowingly, Elise sets in motion a beastly curse Legion has endured as long as he can remember. As secrets unravel about Legion's vicious past, questions rise over who has the true right to the throne. When answers come, more lives are put at stake, and Elise is forced to make an impossible choice: avoid a bloody game by leaving Legion to the beast within, or end his curse and restore magic to the land by sacrificing a life, hers. And we're heading into spoiler zone.
Yeah, I feel like that description was like a summary.
I was just reading that this is the first time I've read it, and that last one like gives everything away.
Yeah.
So all right.
Yeah, so spoilers. Also, there's going to be a lot of spoilers from Blood and Ash.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of similarities.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
We knew right off the bat. I was already reading it, and then the next day Lindsey texted me and she was like, is it just me, or are you getting a lot of vibes?
So like, well, I'm gonna let you ask your first question and then I'll explain some of my thoughts.
Okay, what did you think of the book? Was it what you expected?
I had no expectations. I had no idea, other than I knew that you said it had something to do with like the Vikings or something like that. And so,
yeah,
because you were excited about it because of that. And I was like,
yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Had a pretty cover.
Yeah.
I pick my books like I pick my wine. So yeah, I would say, so like I said, I had zero expectations other than fantasy romance Vikings. I would call it a cross between From Blood and Ash. I know they said Vikings and Beauty and the Beast, which I guess, but like From Blood and Ash is, I guess From Blood and Ash isn't like super Beauty and the Beastie, but anyway, From Blood and Ash, very similar. And also I would say I was gonna say it's a cross between From Blood and Ash and Land of Fury by our very own Lindsey Pogue.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I was actually really let down because they compared it. They said Beauty and the Beast meets Vikings, or something something like that, like compared the two.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt no Viking in it whatsoever.
Yeah, I was
really bummed.
The Viking, other than knowing, I was like, and so like the names of places and stuff like that, I was like, that's Vikingish, but and like mentioning the Allfather and stuff like that, but I don't know, it didn't feel. I will say I'm reading book 2 right now, and it's feeling very more Vikingish, but not a lot. Like they talk about like drinking horns and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like there was more details that could have been put in there to give it more.
There's no
feels
world
like
vibe.
It feels very just like fantasy romance, like a fantasy realm. I don't know.
Yeah, I was really bummed because like I said, they say Longhouse. They talk about the Norns, which are the Fate Weavers, but like they don't even explain what they are. Like they don't do any. Like I feel like there was nothing. So I was really bummed. But I'm also a historical freak, so
and
I was
like
just expecting more.
As I was reading it, I wasn't picturing like Vikings, like people who look like they were in the Vikings show or anything.
Yeah, I wasn't
like
either.
That. I don't know. It wasn't until book 2 that I realized that Elise was blonde. I knew she was pale.
It was very, yeah, I think it's a very vaguely described everything.
Not a lot of descriptions. But I will say, in comparing it to From Blood and Ash, to me it was like a faster paced. It was faster paced than Blood and Ash, and I think one of the things that many people have kind of a gripe with From Blood and Ash, because I really love that book, and that series, and Jennifer L. Armentrout I think does a beautiful job in that. But it is a lot of description.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like a lot.
Yeah,
so
we
I feel
talked
like
about that.
this almost is like, I don't want to say like it's a version of that, because I'm not trying to say that she's like copying or anything like that, but it feels very similar, but like a lot faster pace and a way less description.
Yeah. And I honestly didn't really get the Beauty and the Beast the vibes until the very end, when he started changing with the curse and all that, like towards the like actual like the last I mean, I just listened to it, so like the last 20
like he's not holding her prisoner.
Yeah. No. So other than that, yeah. So like it's very, yeah, it was just very, I felt like I just kept waiting. And I mean, we talked about this when we were reading From Blood and Ash too. Like we knew what the big reveal was going to be the first chapter in, and that was the same with this one.
And it's like once I say like once I got the From Blood and Ash vibe, it was like literally within the first 5 minutes of listening to the book, I was like, this is like From Blood and Ash, because it opens in this gambling hall and she's disguised. She's like hiding. She's not supposed to be there. And I was like, this feels similar.
She has a run-in with the like very elusive, mysterious guy, and of course they're paired together. And then,
and I was like, so as soon as I got that in my head, I was like, okay, I feel like I know where this is 100% going, and that is 100% where it went. With the whole, okay, so like, everything.
I feel like it's very clear in the description, but so
what happens in the book?
Yeah, so essentially Legion Grey is, yes, he is her, it's such a dumb thing, a dowry negotiator. The whole time I was reading that, I was like, really, that's the role they gave him? They explain it later, which I'm like, okay, all right, that's like he made himself that to get closer to her, so okay. But I'm just also like so
why
silly.
would the king appointed him as the dowry negotiator, and he's like this hot young merchant is what I guess the role that he has taken on. And they're like, this is a good idea, let's get this maiden. She's supposed to be chaste while she's in her negotiation. It's okay if she's like fooling around with guys before she enters her negotiation phase, her marriage negotiations. But once she's in negotiations, she's the
second niece or whatever. She's not even like
the second niece. So she's like a princess, kind of. But her older sister is going to be the queen. Or she's marrying the crown prince. Her older sister's marrying the crown prince. But like, really? And the dowry negotiator is allowed to go be alone with the maiden who's supposed to be chaste. Okay.
Well, and he kept disappearing when all shit kept hitting the fan, and I was like, oh god, I know exactly where this is going.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I think that it just seemed so much more predictable to us because we had From Blood and Ash in our minds. Probably, and it definitely followed the same beats. Like, it was definitely its own thing, but it also, like, the big twists and stuff were pretty much spot on. And I actually made a list. So I just did it really quick before we started. But the opening scene obviously is very similar. Oh, okay. Maybe I shouldn't do this because I don't want to seem like I'm like saying that it was copied. Maybe I won't do that.
Okay, but it's similar, and so
there's a lot of similarities. So I feel like if you've read,
but that doesn't mean it's not. It wasn't enjoyable.
Like I said, I'm reading book 2 right now, and I am really enjoying it. So I was going to say, if you liked From Blood and Ash, you would like this book. I feel like.
And it's funny because I didn't even think about my book when you were kind of comparing it, but then when you were just talking about how her sister's going to become the new queen, and she's like, and then Elise is like the second princess.
Yes.
Like, holy shit.
And also she's like the one who the plan, or like they want her to be the queen, or the plan. Sorry, I'm trying to like give away spoilers for your book that hasn't even come out.
No, that's fine. People will forget. It's fine. But yeah, no. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. But yeah, so I think for me, the biggest thing, I was super bummed about the like
setting.
Yeah, just because even if it was really like developed as something else, I just felt like there wasn't a lot there. So I was kind of let down by that. But I did enjoy the story itself and how like the curse behind the blood wraith and all that stuff. That was really cool. And I did not, as I was saying, I thought it was so silly that, you know, the super sexy guy who's supposed to be amazing is the fucking dowry negotiator. I'm like, what? Really? That's his job? He's a merchant dowry negotiator
Who gets to be alone with her.
Yeah, but I mean, it kind of started making more sense the more you read it because you find out why and how he got there and stuff. It was all purposely done. So it's all by design, which still is kind of funny, but
And I can't remember if he said it or not, but did he like use his fury, which is their word for magic, to like convince people to give him that position or something? Like, I wonder if he, because he could influence people. He used it on her once, right? To make her go to sleep.
I don't know. I don't know if he did. He might have used it on the uncle, or the uncle. That would have made sense. The king, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why would he have done it like you said? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so let's see. So we both knew it was going to be similar to From Blood and Ash. Mm-hmm. Did you finish that series?
No, I'm waiting for her to finish.
Oh, okay. But you're reading book 2 in this one, so okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. I know stuff. I've read 3 books From Blood and Ash, but then she has another companion series that like goes side by side with it, and so I wanted to wait for her to finish everything so then I can read everything. But I have heard that the other series is extremely spicy.
Oh,
so I'm excited about that. Yeah.
What did you think about Elise's character as the main heroine?
I liked Elise. I think my only real like criticism of the characters is that it didn't seem, like you said, realistic that this like hot Legion Grey guy would be like the dowry negotiator.
You know what? I thought she was fine. There was one part of the book that was so frustrating to me, and that was when she vows herself, or like swears herself to him, or whatever you call it, for the night when they're in the tavern or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they have to stay together until the sun comes up while he's the blood wraith. Mm-hmm. I was so frustrated because he gave her 700. Okay, maybe not. Okay, maybe 12, but that's still a lot. He said so many times, ask me your questions. You're stuck here with me all night. Ask me your questions. You're stuck here. She never asked him a single question. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is literally like, this is silly.
Convenient.
Yeah. And so I was just like, that was really bothering me. Because I was like, don't have him, like, as a writer. For me, I would know that would just bother my readers. So I'm just sitting there going, why make it so that they can't have that conversation then, other than just having him reiterate over and over, ask me your questions, and then she just doesn't want to. Yeah. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Well, I will say, in book 2, there is an extremely frustrating, it's not a misconception, because she is fully aware of what's going on, but he is being extremely stubborn about something, and it's really annoying. And I'm like, I have like 3 hours left, and I'm like, I'm guessing that thing is what's going to be resolved at the end of the book. But it's just like, oh my God, just like do it already. We know you're going to like do this thing, not it, but.
Right. You know. Is this considered YA? Because the first one isn't seamy.
No.
Oh, so by the second one, you're like, definitely not.
I would not call that YA. I mean, it was not like From Blood and Ash, but level of explicitness. But it was, I would not call it YA. Okay. And I think she's like 20.
Yeah, probably.
I think she calls it her like 20th, whatever they call it, cycle or something.
I will say that, you know, I've talked in the past about how I'm not a huge fan of fae stories, fantasies. Mm-hmm. And I like that this one, I mean, obviously there's fae woven into it, but it's not like in a fae world with all fae characters that are just like, I liked that it was like a world with different, you know.
Well, the night folk do have pointy ears. I will tell you.
Your favorite.
Including Valen. He's got pointy ears. Pointy ears. I don't like the pointy ears.
You know what else I was thinking too is in this story, one of the other similarities to Beauty and the Beast is that the prince, who is, spoiler alert, Legion Gray is a prince. He's cursed, and his friends are also cursed. So that was also a similarity.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking about that too. So other than his dowry negotiator role, was there anything about Legion Gray that you liked or didn't like specifically?
No, I liked him. Yeah, I don't feel like I had any issues with the characters. I do feel like some of the characters are really taking on more personalities in book 2. Like Halvar. Is that his name?
Halvar,
one of his friends. One of Legion's friends. Legion is not his real name. And I feel like Elise is taking on us. I mean, she's always been like a very idealistic, principled character, and she's actually been, I find her to be an interesting character because like she makes this big sacrifice, which and some of this is kind of glossed over, and maybe it was more revealed in book 2, I'm not sure, but like her dad, like for him to get the king's healers, she had to like agree to like obey the king and like marry whoever was picked for her or whatever. Like there was this bargain that she had with the king that she would be obedient to protect her dad, who was like a total dick anyway. But then it's revealed that in book 2 that the king or the little witch girl, I don't know if the king was making her do it or not, or the queen was making her do it or not, but was like somehow making it so her dad was sick. So then he's not sick anymore in book 2. So it's like she was, I don't know. I'm confused about like the king's awareness of some of the stuff that was going on.
Oh, yeah.
So
I don't know.
before he got, that was me.
Yeah, there's a lot of
treachery
in this book. We'll say that.
Yeah, there's a lot of treachery.
So you're a big fan of the narrator,
Dina.
Yeah.
Sorry, she's my narrator for the Faithless trilogy, and also for From Blood and Ash.
Yeah, that's true, very true. Which is funny because this again is we're comparing it. I honestly feel like I have liked her narration in all their books far more than I liked this one. I don't know why. I know it was lacking for me, but I'm trying to figure out why for me, or why in this production it was so different. I feel like as I was listening to it, I kept getting confused because I feel like for the most part, every single thing she said, no matter what character it was, sounded the same. And so there was not a lot. In some instances, there were some, different intonations and inflections in her voice. But for the most part, like I kept getting confused between Legion and Elise because I don't know. I just feel like she did such a good job in other audiobooks that I was really struggling with this one because I was sitting there going, I feel like she's not even trying. Like she's just reading it. Like that's kind of how I felt. So I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if I have like what do they call it? Like a bee in my bonnet with this book or not. But I just feel like it was a letdown all the way across. Like, I don't know. I was like, well,
I didn't. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say at least the narration I know will be fun. And then I was like, kind of flat.
No, I didn't have any issues with her narration. I do really love her voice for men when they have a British accent. If that makes, I like her. So if you have listened to From Blood and Ash, her voice for Hawk, or Castile, and then I also asked her to do a British accent for people who are speaking in non-English languages in the Faithless trilogy because so much of it takes place in ancient Egypt. And I was like, well, obviously we don't, they're speaking ancient Egyptian. So I was like, I need to have a way to differentiate like people. And the majority of the Western world is very familiar with types of British accents. And I was like, okay, so let's just use like British accents as our basis. And then we can have like you know, a more Cockney British accent for like the sailors, or try to sound a little piratey or something. And then we'll go like more like upper crust for the like royalty people.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Maybe that's what
I
it
do
is.
really
Maybe
like her male British when she does a man's voice with a British accent.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just fell flat because it's just like it all sounds the same if it's not different. Like,
There's no
like if
accent.
it's not, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it was kind of like meh. And then
it is, I will say it is weird when that happens, because I've listened to books narrated by Julia Whalen, who is easily my like favorite narrator to listen to. And I've listened to books that she's narrated and I've just been kind of like, meh. I think like Year One by Nora Roberts, that one, I was just kind of like, meh. Even though it was Julia Whalen.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. Sorry, you were about to say something.
No, I was just going to say I was looking at how many books are in this series, and I'm interested to know how you feel about the end of the second one, because there's 7 books.
I know. I don't know. I'm not at the end yet.
I know.
But I will
exciting.
say I'm definitely have been really enjoying listening to it. It's been great. Yeah. I mean, I like I said, I was in a big slump, like a big creative slump. So I honestly wasn't even really interested in reading, but I just wanted to have something on in my ear. So, and I had to read it for the podcast. And then I was like, well, now I want to know what happens. So,
Yeah.
And I was curious to see if similarities between the Blood and Ash series and would continue on with the Broken Kingdom series. But it's definitely feeling like it's differentiating more in book 2. So.
How far did you ever get in the Wicked Kingdom of the Wicked series? Did you get through it?
So I was in the middle of book 3 when the whole Facebook thing happened, and then my depressive funk makes it so I don't want to read.
Oh, okay. I was just curious if.
And so then I just got kind of thrown off of it. So I will finish it. But it's interesting that you bring that one up, because I feel like it had a similar situation in terms of the setting kind of falling flat.
That's why I brought it up, actually. It was on my mind from that very same.
In a very similar way. Like, I know we're told it is this setting. I understand that, but I don't necessarily feel it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I was thinking? And I think maybe, I don't want to say I'm being unfair, because as a reader, I obviously have expectations for books that I like. But I also know that I write a genre that there's not a lot of. Like, there's a reason I'm not writing to market. Like, I'm writing books that I really want to read, and there's not a very specific market for it.
No,
like, I get that.
Same days.
So I think that for me is like, I put so much like into my stories because that's what I love. So to hope for that in another story and then have it not be there makes me sad.
No, I 100% get that. Like, that's one of the things that almost all of the like 4 and 5 star reviews on my books, and that's not saying that they're all 4 and 5 stars, they're not, but description for my books is like one of the top things that readers say. Like, I felt like I was there. And so I think that for both of us, when we put so much effort into the description of the setting and like the atmosphere and all of that stuff, it is just kind of a letdown when it's not there elsewhere.
Yeah, I don't know, because I know it's a thing. Like, it can be done. I can think of a few stories that I've read where I was like obsessed with the story, these fantasy Viking worlds, like that's what made me really excited to kind of do some of my stuff. Like Amy Harmon, her, the first girl child. Yeah. And I loved that. Loved that story. And then Adrienne Young has the Sky in the Deep. Absolutely loved that story as well. And so I know that it's doable, and I know there's people out there that do it, but I'm also like, I know it's not what everybody does. So I think for me, I'm always looking for that next one that makes me feel all warm and gooey and excited. And this wasn't it for me. So take that as you will, everybody, because the reviews are great on this one. So not like, it's just my opinion. And
I think it hits all those from Blood and Ash notes that like people love so much.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Did it? I
I'm
mean,
just really picky.
obviously I liked it. I zipped right into book 2.
Well, and it's funny because it was the same thing with the last one, right? The Kingdom of the Wicked. I was the same. I was just like, and then you were like, I'm already reading the second one.
I know.
I was like, damn, girl, get it.
I know. I will finish that one.
Yeah.
I will.
It'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
So one of your favorite questions, casting.
I have no good answers for this because
I don't even know what they look like, honestly.
I know.
So.
I know. Like I said, I didn't even realize Elise was blonde until book 2. So please.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah.
I think that's why I wanted to ask you. It's like, ooh, maybe whoever Lindsey picks will help me picture somebody for this series because I can't picture anyone.
No. I know Legion has dark hair. Legion, who becomes someone else, has dark hair when he is transformed. Like whatever disguise he has. Like when the curse is broken, like his hair is dark.
So I have a question about the transformation thing. They make it sound like he only puts on a mask. Is that all that happens?
When he becomes the Blood Wraith?
Yeah, like I kept thinking he was like some
like
monster.
More of an internal, like it's like a possession.
Yeah, and he just wants a thirst for blood and stuff. Like he wants to kill people or whatever.
But he's still like physically him, I think.
Okay. And then he just, because it was so weird. She's like, and then he put on the mask and I was like, and she started freaking out. And I was like, he just put on a mask. You're freaking out. Like he didn't like have like talent.
He's the masked man.
I'm like, what the fuck? Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure I was understanding all that correctly. I mean, I get it because she has in the beginning of the story, you learn, she has a very close run-in, very like traumatic run-in with him and like later or earlier in the story off page. And so I can see the trauma would come back seeing him put on the mask, but I was still just like, wait, it's only a mask. The whole time I was expecting like this like beastly transformation and it's just a mask.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and there was so the Night Prince, the Blood Wraith, and Legion Grey are the same thing.
And the dowry negotiator.
And Valen, I can't remember what his last name is. But Ferris or something. But I don't know where I was going with that. They're all the same person.
Okay.
There's like
he just
a lot
has
of
different attire for all of them.
Oh no. Yeah, it's like costume change. But no. I feel like early I was like, okay. I was getting like confused. I was like, there's a Blood Wraith, there's a Night Prince. Are those the same thing? Because I was like, clearly he's gonna be one of them at least. And I was like, maybe he's both. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I guess
he's 5 things.
He's 5 things. He is 5 things. So
but I will say I've been talking a lot of crap, but really, I mean, it is well written. And it is a fun story. So please don't like stone me or anything. Like you should read it if you are interested. I was just bummed by a few things. So
you got to be in your bonnet.
I have a bee in my bonnet, you guys. I've been having a lot of duds lately,
let you
apparently.
know how it continues on. In the
I need to come up with a saying for when I find a book with it, it's like the exact opposite. So that some silly saying, so that like I rate this 2 bees only, or like
there were too many bees in my bonnet.
A whole hive.
A whole hive.
Anyway. All right. Well, I'm excited to hear what you think. Any other last minute thoughts or wrap up for this one?
No, I mean, other than, like I said, like I'm on book 2. I'm almost done with book 2 and I'm definitely enjoying it. I do feel like I wish there was more description, especially in the steamy scenes. Like it was open door, but it was like not super descriptive.
She's like, I need more.
Maybe I'm writing too much of my Patreon stuff. I mean, Darkness Between the Stars is getting pretty
Racy?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, it is.
That I think that's part of it too, right? We write all these stories and then our imaginations are very skewed when we go to read a book. We're like, wait a second.
Yeah. So
it's kind of a curse of writing, really, because I mean it's great because the more you write, the more you learn about yourself, but it's also the more you judge other people and the more you can't enjoy reading sometimes.
Yeah, or you think like, oh, I would have done it differently. I would have done it this way.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. I would have made this the sex scene more explicit.
That's exciting.
So...
Well, anyways, I don't know if it keeps getting a little bit more like not historical, because obviously it's historical, but like more Viking-esque and it gets steamier, maybe I'll give it a whirl.
They do have long boats now too, or whatever.
Oh, long boats and long houses.
Lots of long things.
But not described where it counts.
No, there was no length described. It was actually very abrupt. And I was like, oh, but I thought she was a virgin.
You're like, oh, that happened quickly.
Yeah. I was like, I mean, she doesn't ever explicitly say, I feel like she mentions that she's not, I don't know. She seemed like very taken with him, like just making out with her in book 1. And I was like, okay, so clearly she's never had sex.
I'm trying to think. I do know that she kept saying like, it doesn't matter what I do because I'm not the heir or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But she never like mentioned any previous boyfriends or
not that I remember
any kind of attraction to anyone other than Legion.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah. Like you said, if we ruled the world, no. If we wrote all the books in the world, people would get really tired of us.
Yes. They also
we would
have very many books to read.
Yeah, and they'd be like, "Oh, that was 12 books, and now I'm bored."
When's the next one come out?
Anyway,
no, I'm excited. I am excited about the series. I'm excited that there are 7 books. I'm excited that it's narrated by Stina. Yeah. Oh, I will say also there is a second narrator from book 2 on. There's a man who there's a male POV. Oh, you might like it now.
Who is it? Do you know?
Tim Campbell.
I'll look into it.
He sounds very like he does fantasy books, kind of like he has a very deep voice. He has a nice voice. I like him.
Okay.
I like him. I would say it's like 50-50. I don't know. It seems like it.
Well, on the lickable scale.
Yeah. I mean, you could lick his voice.
Can I just tell you really quickly? So I've had, Lindsey already knows this, but that's how I decide if somebody's attractive or not, or like, even if it's just somebody that is worth anything, I don't know, like, and I'm not talking about some guy walking down the street. Well, I mean, I guess you could throw them in there too, but
she is actually judging every single man that she sees on her lickable scale inside her head.
When my husband's like, oh, this guy, you'll probably think he's so hot, and he like mocks me or whatever, and I'll look at him and be like, man, I'd lick him, you know, like I would lick him or I wouldn't. Like that's how I do it.
And then like where you would lick him, does that determine like how
no, we don't talk about
lickable he is?
That's a whole other thing. We don't talk about that. But it was funny because during Thanksgiving I was hanging out with my cousins, and they of course don't know I have this lickable scale. And we were talking about Jimmy G and football and 49ers and stuff because we're all 49er fans. And my husband gives me a hard time because I think you know,
you'd
anyway. Yeah. So he straight up asked me. He's like, he mentioned some other character. He's like, well, would you lick him? And then my cousin's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? So then they all are like, we explain how this works in our house, and then they're asking me what about this guy? What about this guy? Oh, but what about him? And it's just hilarious. And then we were going on, and I was like, like him. And they're like, no way. And it was just hilarious. It was so.
What was the like most unexpected lickable man?
Oh, I don't even remember half of them. They're all football players that they had to show me photos of.
I don't know who they are.
Well, I mean, Dennis and I, we do like actors and stuff, but yeah, they were just talking football because they don't know actors. They just know football. So it's different, you know? But anyways, it was just so funny because they saw the dark side of Lindsey. This like, the goody two shoes,
She licks people in her mind.
The Napa girl. Anyway, it was just really hilarious. I'm like, no, this is literally the thing in our household. This is how we gauge people. Even Dennis, I'm like, would you lick him or wouldn't you? And he's like, nah, I wouldn't lick that one. No, I'd lick the other guy. So now Dennis uses my scale when I need him to.
And it's not even a scale. It's like basically a thumbs up.
It's a yes or no.
Down.
It is a one. There is no in between.
Is there a lick or no?
Yeah, there's no like touch the tip of the tongue. No. It's like a full lick or
full lick or no lick.
Okay, I feel like I have just grossed everybody out now, and everyone knows far too much about my life. So we're gonna move on.
I'm so excited for you to reveal the next one.
Yeah. Okay. Let me clear my throat here.
When I told my husband about it, he was like, cool.
Great. Yeah. I haven't even told Dennis yet. I was going to today, and then I was like, he doesn't care. All right. So that is a wrap for this episode. So thank you everyone for listening to our very uncouth tangents about licking and our cursing and our everything else. Don't forget to check out the show notes for episode links and book recs I don't think we had any today. And also for our Discord links for our Discord groups. But we will be back next time. We're going to be doing our book to screen adaptation chat. And this time around, we're actually going way back. Way back to Twilight by Stephanie Myers. And we are going to be reading the book and watching the film.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. We're trying to figure out if we want to do some sort of a live thing. I don't know. We'll figure it out, we'll keep you posted. But for now, we're at least reading the book and watching the movie and chatting about that. And can I just tell you that we had talked previously about how much, like way back when, we really enjoyed the books, but we haven't read them since. So we honestly don't know what we think about them now.
Oh, yeah.
But I went back and I looked at the reviews. I can't believe Twilight has like a 4.8 average rating on Amazon. I was so serious. And it has 22,000 reviews at almost 5 stars. So I was like, wow, we're going to see, guys, because I don't know what the Lindseys are going to think about this, but we're going to go back and reread them.
I mean, I feel it's funny because like Twilight the book and Twilight the movie are two very different things in my head in terms of like, I remember there's like very scenes that I can see very visually in my mind from the book that are not in the movie that I can still remember. And so I'm really curious. Yeah. I'm just curious to see how it goes this time.
You know what I can remember is going to see it with my husband and him saying, that is the corniest line I've ever heard. This movie sucks. And I was like, honestly, like, yeah, the acting's not great, but that is the exact line from the book. So the book must
What line was it?
It's some of the shimmering one of them was like one of the shimmering ones when he's like dazzle. I don't remember. This was when the movie first came out. How many years ago was that? I don't remember. But there was a few different ones, and I remember going back and actually checking. I was like, oh my god, it really is in the book. Like, this is really bad. That just seeing it on screen made it so much worse.
I'm excited. I'm
so excited too, because I have all the books and all the movies, and I haven't watched or read any of them since back in the day, so it'll be fun.
Since you've written a book.
Yeah, pretty much. And we all know from this episode how much my taste has changed, and my expectations. So
ooh, it's gonna be good.
All right, we'll keep you guys posted. So until next time, happy reading adventures, and we'll chat with you soon.
Happy reading.
Bye.